What's going on, guys? My name is Ian Binnick. Welcome back to another YouTube video. And today we're going to be talking about 17 B2B SaaS digital marketing tools that you should be using. Now, without further ado, let's just jump in. This is going to be kind of a quick overview of all of these tools, and they're all useful. They're all stuff that we use for all of our clients, and I just want to make sure that you guys are using them too, because why not share the love? So we're going to walk through the blog post, and then I'm actually going to hyperlink into the tools themselves. So the first tool we're going to talk about is Webflow. And so I talk about Webflow all the time, and our offer on our site is we're going to make a strong, sexy, and safe website for you. And I want to explain that a little bit more. So Webflow is essentially a no-code website builder that you can have unlimited creative freedom with. And although it's a little bit harder of a designer than Wix or Squarespace, you get so much more value for what you're actually doing. And so the thing is, if you're not using Webflow, then you're missing out on a ton of other awesome features that we're kind of going to talk about. But when I say strong, you're missing out on database functionality, being able to massively produce pages in a very fast scale. And these are things that other websites do not have the capabilities of doing yet, because they're not really strong no-code things or strong no-code website builders like Webflow. So if you're not using Webflow, you're missing out, and I can't plug it enough. If you're on the blog at any point, you're going to be able to actually click into the site and actually go out and download it. They have a free plan. Obviously, you'd probably want to get on the CMS plan if you're going to do any sort of PSEO pages, which we're going to talk more about later, but or in another video. But still, super valuable. Webflow is a must. Google Tag Manager next. I'm going to keep it simple. You need to be tagging your pixels efficiently. It's better not to have a piece of code on the in the head of your website frame and just having a ton of pieces of code in your header, whenever you could just have Google Tag Manager in your header, and then you have a really nice visual way to see all of the tags from all of your social media sites and all of your other tools that are tracking things on your websites. You can track those inside of Google Tag Manager very efficiently in a relatively no-code fashion. There is still some coding, but it's very, very easy kind of coding, and there's a lot of tutorials online. So if you're not using Google Tag Manager, you're really just doing things the hard way. Number 3, simple, Google Analytics. Link it up to your Google Tag Manager, super easy, and it's free. And we're going to have analytics courses on this channel, and they're not just going to be basic courses. They're going to be reports that we use with our clients that are able to track certain pages at certain times, and the people that are viewing them, and the behavior that's showing or that's coming from ads. And so we're actually going to have some really cool reporting videos on our channel as a result. So definitely check those out if you have time, or in the future, because we don't have them yet. But Google Analytics, you should have it. And for anyone that doesn't know, Google Analytics 4, because Google Analytics Universal or Universal Analytics is going to be going away soon. And I have so many Google Analytics accounts that I get 10 emails every single day saying shift your Universal Analytics over to GA4, and I already have, so I don't really know why they're saying this, but whatever. But anyway, just a side note, as a digital marketer, from one digital marketer to another, you may have that problem. And the next is Google Search Console. So this is actually one of those tools that it's simple, and most clients will have it, but there's a lot of clients that I start to work with that don't. And it's kind of interesting, because you could actually go so far without having Google Search Console, or having a Google Search Console platform for your business, and you're missing out on the ability to track queries from prospects that are searching for you. And you can not only just see what people are clicking on and the pages they're clicking on, but also you can see the actual query that they search for. And if your website or one of your pages showed up in the rankings and at what spot it ranked for and the click-through rate for it. So there's tons of cool opportunities, and I can actually just show you real quick in our Google Search Console, which I need to find. I'm just going to type it in, Google Search Console. I want to show kind of what this looks like because this is a really cool feature, and it should just sign in. One sec. I don't know why I wasn't signed in. I must have had one of those like Google refreshes. But our website right now, this is very early on in our inception, but you can go to see a performance here in your Google Search Console, and then you can actually see like queries that you're showing up for. And then if you turn on click-through rate and average position, you can actually see these stats down here as well, which is really cool. So obviously we have a lot of work to do, and we're working on that now with making content. But, you can see the clicks that are coming through, the impressions that are coming through, and your average position. So yeah, it's a really cool tool, and it's free. Again, Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, Google Search Console, all free. So definitely be checking those out. Google Optimize, this is just essentially A/B testing. So if you have a website, you want to be doing some sort of landing page A/B testing, and Google Optimize is like the best way to do that. Essentially, you're just going to be running a variation. So you're going to have like a control, and then you're going to have a variant copy, and you can just see sort of like we haven't done much testing actually on our site yet. And this is just because like we haven't been running ads to it, and we're just starting to create content. So this is actually something we're probably going to do soon. But we do this with all of our clients, and essentially you're just testing different variations. So we had a copy change or a header change on this one, and you can see the differences in page views. Obviously, there's tons of more goals that you can pull in here, like demos, contact us forms, bounce rate, all of those kinds of things. And so it's really cool, and it's free. Again, this is, however, being sunset at the end of the year, so that means they're going to be discontinuing it. But again, what I'm saying is that the Google Analytics 4 is going to have functionality that is basically the same as Google Optimize, if not better. So it's worth still having Google Optimize, Google Search Console, Google Tag Manager, all of that stuff. HubSpot. You're going to need a CRM. As a B2B SaaS owner, you probably know this, you need a CRM. And one of the best ones is HubSpot, just because there's a lot of free out-of-the-box integrations that really make it great. And honestly, it's pretty cheap if you want to get any of the higher plans. CRMs generally do cost a lot of money because the more contacts you have, the more expensive it gets. But for a lot of early stage startups, which are, who we primarily work with, it's cheaper. It's on the cheaper side. You can get away with just $30 a month, honestly, with it. But if you decide to go into any of the higher plans, it can get up to $800 a month, which obviously sounds like a lot of money, but it's still very cheap in the long term, or in the scheme of like CRMs. But you get so much functionality out of the box. You get marketing, you get sales, you get service, you get conversation kind of tickets. This here is HubSpot. You get the ability to place forms on your site and then trigger some simple automated email flows. Because HubSpot's pretty awesome. And to be honest, like if you're not using HubSpot, then I don't really think there's another free CRM out there that's really worth it. For the amount of integrations that you have with HubSpot and things you can do with marketing automation tools like Zapier and WhaleSync, which we're going to kind of touch upon here in a sec. But HubSpot's really awesome. You're going to need a CRM at some point anyway. You should get that one, in my opinion. Typeform is a really cool software. Essentially, you're going to be able to get forms completed faster. So here, for example, I believe they show this is kind of like what a type form looks like. You're able to, here, let me show you. I'm actually kind of already signed up, so I don't know if this is going to mess anything up. But let's see. Yeah, so like you can make a type form that looks sort of like this, where people just have to select like, are they interested? What's their name? And they like fill out the name. It doesn't show all of the questions all at once, essentially. And so it's very humanized. And this is also a free software that you can, embed on your website. And for B2B SaaS startups, if you're not getting a ton of demos every single month. If you're getting less than 10, then Typeform is a great way to capture some people's emails before it starts to actually cost money. So you get 10 submissions a month. So it's pretty cool software. It just makes conversion rates higher on websites. So pretty cool. Hotjar, heat mapping. You've seen like tools where they can essentially track where people's cursors are and get recordings of your website, and then also just like touching buttons and areas on your site. You can do that with Hotjar. It's a really cool software and it's free as well. Airtable. We're going to talk about kind of like PSEO now. So when I say PSEO, I mean programmatic SEO. And essentially, programmatic SEO is mass creating long tail keyword pages. So pages that essentially sound like this, like best digital marketing agency in blank city, which then you could sub out blank city with like Atlanta. You could sub it out with New York, San Francisco, and you can mass create those pages really fast. And one of the best ways to do that is using Airtable, and that is going to be, you're pairing your Airtable with your Webflow site. You can massively increase your SEO and your programmatic pages. And we've made like 100+ pages in literally just a couple of hours for our clients. And we're going to show you how. We have actually blogs that are literally showing you how to do this. But you're using a tool which goes into tool 10, which is called WillSync. And you're essentially linking. This is how you're able to link Airtable and Webflow very quickly and very efficiently, so that you're able to map a database field with a collection ID inside of Webflow. A little bit complicated, and I'm not really going to get too much into it, but this is essentially a marketing automation tool that can really up your game, and it's really inexpensive. It's $40 a month, and Airtable's free. Hotjar is free, and Webflow, you can actually do that WhaleSync, Airtable, Webflow integration. If you're on a starter plan for Webflow, it's actually free. You get 50 CMS items, so pretty cool. If you want to have like a subdomain, you could use Webflow. That's kind of getting in the weeds, but yeah, WhaleSync's a really cool tool. Check it out, seriously. We're going to get into the last 7 tools here, and there are a lot of social platforms in here, so I'm going to speed through them, but I'm going to explain the importance of each one. So like Google Ads, for example, and Bing Ads. We're going to talk about them in the same vein because they're essentially the same thing. Google Ads and Bing Ads, they're called search engine marketing, which is SEM. And essentially when someone is looking in Google or someone is looking in Bing for maybe a service that you're providing. So for example, one of our clients was like cybersecurity. It was like cybersecurity software or penetration testing software. You want to make sure that you're kind of like showing up for those, especially if you're being competitive and competing for those words. Also, just when someone's searching for your brand, if you have like kind of a generic name like us, like Optimizing Marketing, as you saw in the Google Search Console, we show up 7th right now, and that's why we're working on our content marketing efforts right now and our SEO. But you want to have an ad that shows up so you can show up first. And so that's what SEM is essentially. You want to make sure that you're showing up in the search engines when people are looking for things. And then, tools 13 and 14 are just LinkedIn ads and meta ads. Essentially, you're going to have these pixels that we talked about, and those pixels are going to be in your Google Tag Manager. And you want to make sure that all of your social media outlets and their corresponding ad platforms, the pixels for those are thrown in your Google Tag Manager very early on, so that when people do visit your website, you're starting to aggregate an audience and of people that can be retargeted with advertising. And a lot of these audiences need to be like 300 members large within a certain time frame, so like 90 days. Usually is like the cutoff for a lot of ad platforms. You can go higher in some, like LinkedIn, you can do like a whole year, but like Meta and some others, like 90 days, and others is kind of the cutoff point for having a pretty nice retargeting audience. And so you're going to want to have some retargeting campaigns set up where people are seeing your ads on LinkedIn and Meta after you've reached that threshold of 300 people. It's worth doing, and honestly, it's relatively cheap to capture some high intent audiences. So these are other tools. Again, like you're not going to be spending money immediately, but it's worth setting up early on so that you can actually start to run ads to people that it makes sense for early on. We do this for all our B2B SaaS companies. And LinkedIn, it's not necessarily just for targeting, because there's a lot of cool targeting capabilities in there. But like Meta, for example, like Twitter, Instagram, that is all going to be just mostly retargeting for a lot of our clients. Now, we talked about HubSpot. Tool number 15 is Databox, and in HubSpot you can create reports and dashboards of your marketing qualified leads and all of everything that happens before they turn into a deal. But since we're talking about social media campaigns and PPC campaigns, which was kind of the SEM marketing that we're talking about, then you're going to want to set up a Databox. And Databox is really cool because it's free up until 3 integrations, and you can create some really compelling dashboards, and you can share them with clients, you can share them with your stakeholders, and they're just really awesome. And they have connections for everything too, by the way. Pretty much, they're one of the only companies that can connect to virtually any platform, and so they're a really awesome grab for you. And if you ever do want to make a really comprehensive dashboard and you want to pay money, it does get a little bit expensive, because it's every connector you add to every dashboard you create costs extra money, but it's still a really cool tool and would highly recommend it. Canva, Photoshop, kind of self-explanatory, but Canva's the cheaper version, and honestly it's pretty great for most people that are not graphic designers and that do not know how to use Photoshop. If you're good at Photoshop, then don't use Canva, but it does cost more. But you're gonna need some graphic design help early on, and chances are for early stage startups you're not going to have graphic design help, so this is key for you guys getting started. And then last, tool 17 is just ChatGPT or AI in general. You need to be getting on the AI train early on now, especially if you're not really the best writer, or you're not even really the best at creating images. You can use AI to create, various kinds of marketing collateral for you, and very quickly and very efficiently. Check them out. They're pretty awesome. And I just wanted to throw in some honorable mentions. They're not really marketing tools per se, but they're things that we've found that are super helpful. So you got Google Drive, obviously, for basic productivity items, Mural for mind mapping, and these are, or just kind of presentations that you're giving with clients. You can do whiteboard presentations with these, and they're pretty compelling and they're pretty cool. You got social media outlets. I didn't really mention them, but obviously they're kind of a given. You should set up accounts that hit your target audience. Gather, Zoom, or Google Meet for meetings. Gather is really cool. It's basically like Pokemon, but everyone that's normally in a Zoom meeting is a person, and you can move around, and there's proximity chat, so people can only hear you if you're standing next to them. You can play games with people. It's just a really cool way. I've worked with a couple of startups that essentially just use this for every meeting that they do, and they don't have a actual office. Their Gather is their office, and it's pretty interesting. ClickUp or Monday for tracking your tasks is really cool. Definitely would recommend ClickUp. We use it all the time, and it's really efficient, and it's free. Again, free. Loom for personal touches in your emails and client communications. If you're ever sending a contract, or if you're ever talking to a client, it's so worth just using a Loom video, especially if you kind of have a personality behind the camera and you're comfortable talking. Then use Loom. It just makes your videos better, and it's basically free as well, up to 5 minutes. No one really watches longer than 5-minute Looms, so it's totally worth it. MailChimp, if you want to send better emails and cheaper journey mapping / automated emails. HubSpot, they have simple automations, but you can really only send 5 emails with them. But MailChimp, I'm pretty sure you can send a lot more for a lot cheaper. So if you're actually really a company that really focuses on emails and you have a lot of emails at your disposal, I'd recommend MailChimp. Next is just for some extra SEM. So Clutch or UpCity, if you're more of a service-based business, get a listing on Clutch or UpCity. If you're more of a software-based business, get G2 or Capterra. Those are just going to be ways for people to find you. And again, they just kind of give you better SEM and SEO in the search engines. So it's pretty awesome. And then last but not least, whenever you're getting someone to sign, a lot of people, are going to be sending over a contract. And so you want to use PandaDoc or DocuSign. Personally, PandaDoc I think is way better. DocuSign is old and clunky. PandaDoc is newer and they just have like better features, honestly. So, or it's at least a little bit more intuitive to use. So I'd highly recommend PandaDoc. But yeah, that's pretty much all of our tools. There's tons and tons of marketing tools out there. Obviously, we didn't cover all of them, but I hope you guys found this video helpful, especially if you're an early on like digital marketer looking for the best tools out there, or you're just like a B2B SaaS startup and you're trying to get an idea of what your tech stack should be. This is probably the best guide for you for that. And if you found this video helpful, feel free to subscribe. We're going to have way more videos coming in the future. And a lot of the stuff we're going to be talking about, with that like PSEO and like growth hacking tips, you're not really going to find that really too much else on the internet. If you search for that stuff, there's not a lot of stuff that pops up. And so we're one of the few companies that are jumping on the bandwagon early. And it's just because we work with so many digital marketing or B2B SaaS startups as a digital marketing agency that we kind of get to see these things early and we get to experience them faster than most other companies. And so if you're in one of those companies and you're looking for the latest tips, give us a follow. I think you'll appreciate it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of whatever you're doing this week, and talk to you soon. Peace.